Welcome to the Elijah Winfrey Show, where each week Eli and Toni chat with guests about autism, homelessness, underprivileged youth, and ways they're giving back to their community. The dynamic duo also answer your email questions and get you caught up on their past weekend. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for a terrific show. Here are your hosts, Elijah Winfrey and Toni Boucher.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Elijah Winfrey Show. I am indeed your host, Elijah Winfrey, joined each week by my fabulous, wonderful, and super talented co-host, Toni Boucher. Yes, Toni is back. It has been a busy summer for the both of us. We'll get you caught up on what we've been up to. For those of you who email me, consistently about the show and what's happening, we are back. We get busy sometimes, and sometimes priority with family and projects take center stage, and we know the show is always going to be here, but today we're excited to get you caught up on what we've been up to. There is a quick update. I don't know if you know this, Toni. I heard from Tamara about Houston being canceled because of the I think the weather over the summer, and I don't know if the spot that they were gonna rent or whatever was not in great shape. But she had reached out to me and she had asked, "Did you buy your plane ticket yet?" And I said, "Yeah, but good thing is I can get a refund, so I think it'll be okay." So I don't know if you heard that news or not, but
this weather really wreaked havoc for people.
It did. I know there was a storm your way as well. That impacted you all. But how have you been doing? It's good to see you. I know we text to check on each other, but it's nothing like seeing your face and talking and so how are you doing? How's the family?
I'm doing okay. Things are going well. We started homeschooling for my 14-year-old last week, and so we're in the group with that. And I think the listeners know I spent some time with my family over the summer, and so some of that work behind the scenes has kind of continued for me to just do some things to support them as best I can, distance. And so I've been working on that and working on the community center. We have some pretty exciting news. Our MSW intern Jean Marie is starting last week. I hired her, and so they will be working 3 days at the center, and that'll free me up to do some work to do some outreach and take care of some administrative things. And so I'm looking forward to that because that'll give me some freed up time to do some of that necessary foundational stuff.
Right.
So good news there. Now you had vacation and you've had some things going on your way too. So what biggest stuff going your way? What's on your plate these days?
There's a lot of things that a lot of projects that I've completed, and now we're just kind of going through whether or not, when to go live with some of these projects. I have a very special project that I can't discuss on the show, not yet.
Top secret.
I'll tell you off air, but I'm excited about that project. But the summer was good. It was good to spend quality time with family and kind of reset. I am going to give the paraprofessional opportunity another go, and I'm hoping year 3 will be a bit better. That's not to say that the first 2 years were terrible. They were definitely a learning experience, but
it's challenging.
It's very, very challenging. But after thinking about it over the summer, and as committed as I try to be to projects and the things that I want to do or want to try, I decided after talking to Lisa that and my team that we were gonna give it one more go and see what we could make of it. I was able to go down this summer to the Capitol here in Washington State and talk with some legislators about teacher pay or the lack of teacher pay and paraeducators, not, being compensated well. And just some of the things that I was seeing overall, my job in my head was to try to get some of them to come and visit some of these classrooms to get a better understanding of what's going on in these schools. I think it's important. So it was great. And Toni, when I went down there and I'm stepping into the room to meet with these legislators, I for the first 30 seconds, I was extremely nervous because I didn't write down a script. I just kind of went off my head of the experiences that I've encountered. So the first 30 seconds was tough, but then once I got past that, I was able to flow and to really talk about the ideas that I had, the things that I was seeing. We talked about inclusion. What does inclusion really look like? Is it being implemented properly? So I was able to do that, and I was pretty proud of myself. I walked out of the building and I sat down by the waterfall to take a deep breath and just kind of say to myself, you just did that. Like you sat in the room and, spoke your mind. So that was good this summer. Jordan is continuing to grow. Lisa's busy as always, with her work at Microsoft. And, the weather has been really good. We just had maybe a couple of days of steady rain, but now I think the next 8 or 10 days is going to be sunshine and 70s and 80-degree weather. So, all in all, it was a pretty good summer. Got some things done, and I was able to get on a workout routine, and kind of build my body back up as we head into the home stretch of 2024. I know the holidays are going to be busy, and I know the first couple of weeks of school are going to be busy, so I wanted to make sure that I'm preparing myself. Now, I'm a little bit grayer. I haven't shaved all summer, and Lisa, she likes it because normally I'm very repetitive about, okay, every 2 days I got to shave and whatever. This summer I was like, I'm just going to let everything go and then figure it out when it's time to figure it out. So summer was good. It was decent. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. So we've had such a hot summer that it's been really difficult to actually get out and enjoy things. And just this week, the heat broke so that we could really, I think, be outdoors and enjoy it. So Adrian and our friend Chris and I took a walk at the Kaw Center, which is south of Charleston. And that was really lovely. We had never, in all the years we've been here, visited there.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was really beautiful and really nice to just be present in the moment. We all felt really like rejuvenated after getting out and doing that walk.
Yeah.
So we're being able to enjoy the outdoors here now.
That's awesome. That is great. I follow your center, Autism Center, on social media, and I've seen some lovely posts that were sent out, and I was saying to myself, I know Toni's involved. I'm curious to know, like, do they run it by you before they send it out, or how is that a process?
So right now I'm doing it. The plan is to have them take it over because you guys all know I'm not consistent with that stuff. Other things take priority and I let it go. So they have a desire to go ahead and take that over. So that is the goal, is for them to do it and run it by me and then just have them operate it. So, and some people are really interested in, pursuing some of those social media or writing type careers. We've got one gal at the center we're in the process of formatting her book. It's ready to publish. And we have several writers who meet weekly for the Writers Guild and have some really fun kinds of projects in the works. So they will, they'll definitely happily take that over. And my intern, Jean-Marie can help make sure that goes well.
That is awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, but the goal is to keep that going, and especially to be a resource for, families and members or prospective families and members to kind of get a little bird's eye view into what's going on in the center.
Right.
So yeah, we've last Sunday we had 13 people at the center one time.
Wow.
And so it's really wonderful to see how people are actively coming. They're enjoying the space, and it's being used the way that we, had intended for it to be used. So getting lots of great feedback that it's really enjoyable. So we keep adding fun new, projects for people to work on, and that's been fun to see people explore, different kinds of, craft mediums or, resources that are available to people.
Very
nice. Keep adding those. Yeah.
I know you have clients now, and I know you have groups. Are you going to incorporate, the jewelry, making into the center? Or will that be part of the center?
Yeah, that is actually incorporated. So we have several of the artisans do make jewelry, and we have one young lady in particular who is in the process of uploading all of her pieces into an online store through Go Imagine. I'll keep you guys updated on that. You guys can go and see it. She does really beautiful work, and so that is going to be her small business. And so everything from learning how to, design pieces to keeping the inventory up to tagging and pricing, and now, opening the store. She chose Go Imagine because it's remained very true to the small handcraft kind of batch versus some of the other stores that started out that way now have Walmart selling stuff.
Wow.
On the platforms and things. So Go Imagine also donates some of their proceeds to certain nonprofits that they believe in. And so, yeah, she carefully selected this place. And so her store will be live soon, Saffra's Crafts. And so, yeah, we're all excited to see her do that. We have another person who is our resident photographer. I think you probably saw a post about what Alex is doing. They're in the process of building their website and getting their images online to make photography their career. So we're fortunate that we've got them always at the center, taking pictures at the center. So Alex has made a beautiful collection of black and white portraits of members. And so those are hanging now. We're getting them as people come in. We get their pictures and they're hanging on the walls, and it looks really gorgeous.
That's amazing.
Everybody's pictures. And we did some research, and cotton towels actually are as good or better insulators than the foam kind of professional sound stuff.
Right.
So we're stuffing cotton terry cloth towels behind each of the pictures to keep the noise in control.
Right.
So
I like that.
Yeah, doing a lot of just creative things.
That's so awesome. Now,
yeah.
I want to talk for a second about mental health. I know you and I both are busy people, and we do a lot in the community, with family. Do you? Because I had this question asked of me recently about when do you really have downtime? Not just for you and family, but for you. Like, when do you say, I need me time, right? And I thought about that, and I know I do it. I don't know. I think sometimes I do it spontaneously. Like, I start out with a plan, but I never really follow the steps. So what do you do? Like, you're doing so much right now. is there a section in the week or during the day where you kind of say, I'm going to carve out this time for me to recharge for either tomorrow or for the week ahead, or I just need some me time. I need to unplug from everything. Is there a process for you?
So I'm really fortunate that my kids are really supportive of that, and so they'll say, "Hey, why don't you take some time for you?" Which is nice. It's not just up to me, because sometimes we get caught in our like, got to do this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
But like this morning, I just felt tired. I had a busy week, and I was like, you know what? Before I do the show, I'm going to take a nap. And so I told Adrian, said, do you want me to set an alarm for you? And I was like, yep, set it for, 15, 20 minutes. And so I just laid there and rested and like just really relaxed and kind of fell in and out of sleep, and then woke up feeling really good. Like that was just a nice little rest. But I do try to guard blocks of time to take just for me. And so my typical work days are Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then I try to keep Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for family stuff and for having a block of time for me to do something. When I was younger, I was very gung-ho about just getting all the work done and not listening to my body. Yeah. And, the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to do anything right now. Right. I feel tired, and I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to, watch a show or whatever. And so I really have gotten better at listening to myself. Are you being able to really set that time aside for you? What's your process right now?
I try, I think Sunday's a good day for that for me. I notice that I tend to idle down on Sundays. Like I really, there's very little social media time, if any. And I've gotten into, okay, here's the thing. And I know for the listeners listening to the show, this is going to sound weird. And I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but I'm going to say it. I watch these massage videos. They call them ASMR, right?
Oh, yeah. Either you love them or you hate them.
Yeah, you love them or you hate them. So
yeah, I hate them, and you love them. We have talked about this. Yeah.
I just every Sunday, and I think it's not so much that I'm watching the massage. It's more of I'm listening to the sound of the movement, and I'm listening to the voice of the instructor or the masseuse. And so it seems like every Sunday I get into that mode automatically, like in the afternoon. I can feel myself, starting to say, it's time to go to the bedroom, lay across the bed.
That's great.
If you happen to fall asleep, it's great. And that's another thing, Toni. Yeah. I'm still fighting naps. And I know naps are beneficial, but I sometimes I go in the bedroom and I'm like, I don't want to lay down, because if I lay down, I'm going to fall asleep, and I don't want to fall asleep, right? But I do force myself to kind of lay there and relax and unwind. And so those, I try to have that in place, at least for Sunday. The rest of the week, I may have an hour or two where I will not engage anybody. I'll meditate for maybe 30 minutes. Cut everything off in the house and just close my eyes and just drift off. So I'm doing a better job of it. It's just not as, consistent as I would like. I would say a few years ago, I wouldn't have even thought of it. I would have been still going 100 miles an hour. And, I've learned that that's not the best way to go about it.
We're a work in progress.
Indeed.
But I do think, for any of the listeners who can relate to you having trouble winding down, or me getting caught in my world and having to be reminded, the ASMR videos really work for some people. And if you haven't tried them, it's really worth seeing if that does set you into a good zone. And I like the yoga nidra videos, which talk you through focusing on body parts. Yes. I get in a really nice restful state listening to those. And so those would be two, I think, good strategies to kind of guide you, because I think that is a really important piece for those of us who have difficulty winding down. Having some sort of a structure or guidance is really helpful. And those are two tools that, do work for some people.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to a family last week, and they were talking about the need to. They have kiddos on the autism spectrum, and they were asking any advice on how to get that time for yourself and still be there for your kid. They don't have the money for a babysitter or for someone to kind of come in and kind of help them with that. And honestly, I really didn't know how to answer it. I don't know if I really did answer the question, because it is difficult when you don't have that, support where you can bring in a babysitter, or you have a family member within the state that can come and relieve you. This has been an issue that I've seen quite a bit, where the families, they're saying like, well, I'm running on empty and I need a day, but I really can't, because I can't, I can't be absent mentally with my child at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's, I think one important thing for families to recognize is that it does get better over time. Things change, your child grows and learns, you grow and learn. And so what feels really overwhelming right now, give it some time. It's not always going to be that way. The other thing that I see with families that I think is a big issue is the guilt for taking the time. Like, that's the first thing that a lot of families need to get over, is the fact that, it's okay. Like, you need that time, and you don't have to feel guilty because you take an hour or you take a day or whatever it is that you take. But there's a lot of like ingrained belief that I'm somehow a bad parent because I can't be there for my kid 24/7.
Right.
And nobody can. We need that time. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, like, if you need that time, like, I know parents are guilty, for example, for like putting their kid in front of technology, for example, which, yes, ideally we don't want our kids doing that all the time, but if you need a break and your child will be safe for an hour or two in front of the video game or whatever, take the break.
Yeah.
And don't feel bad about it.
I agree. I agree. I have said that before. I do think that that's important. If it's safe and there's video that's going to last 45 minutes to an hour and they're watching it and they're engaged, take that time to reset as best you can. It's mental health is so important, and I'm glad that we are continuing to talk about it and bring it to the forefront, especially for families who have kiddos on the spectrum.
It's really hard because, like, I'm just thinking back to some of the families I've worked with, and like, I've known families whose kids literally did not sleep all night.
Right.
Maybe their child got 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and they're sticking light bulbs down the garbage disposal or swinging from the chandeliers, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, I mean, and so for some of these families, they are legitimately sleep deprived, and then it's like, well, I can't just send my kid to the neighbor to put the light bulbs in their garbage disposal and, take apart their computer. And so it's, it can be really, really challenging.
It can, for sure. We are just about at the end of the show. It goes really fast. I wanted to ask about the weather there, with the storm, the hurricane or tropical storm that came by. What was there any significant damage? I know they kept saying it was going to turn this place and do this and do that, and I always see Charleston, like, whenever they they have the the weather up on CNN or MSNBC or whatever. It's like
it's in the spotlight.
It's right there all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I know that there were some families who had some, damage to repair. We were unscathed, but that water level gets high, and I think some people, had flooding, and that's just an annual thing for some people. So we closed the center so that people wouldn't be out driving in potentially hazardous weather and just holed up at the house and stay cozy inside and watch the rain. But I mean, I think there were, some people did have to go and repair roofs or, whatever. But for the most part, we fared pretty well, I think, as a community.
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah. Good to hear. As we close the show here today, what does the rest of the week look like for you?
Well, I'm going to take Adrian to Special Olympic tennis today.
Very nice.
And we'll see some clients at the center and check in with folks at the community center and my intern there. And then I am going to hit the ground this week with doing some outreach, making sure that people in the community know what we're doing at the center, and making sure the intern is trained. So a lot of community center focus. When do you go back to school?
So we start Wednesday with I think they're doing the meet and greet, and then Thursday is the official first day of school for the kiddos. So I my wife was asking, how excited am I to be going back? And I said, well, I know I don't get excited until the night before. So I'm still kind of like, I'm going back.
Not that close yet.
No, it's not that close yet. So I'm not in that mode. But it starts next week. I'm excited. And I wanted to also tell you about, and the listeners, I think the listeners have heard me ramble about this before, but when I went to Springfield this summer, I was able to connect with some Special Olympic golfers and put on a little clinic for them, and it was great.
Fun.
I also spoke with some autism advocates. I met some outstanding folks from the Arc of the Ozarks about possibly hosting an autism summit. That was something that they really want to do. And so we kind of kicked around some ideas. So that was fun and ideal. And it's a bummer, Toni, that I won't get to see you in person in October. I was really, really looking forward to that. And I know it's going to happen, but I was like really looking forward to that date. So
it'll happen.
It'll happen for sure. But back to work for me. I have some collaborations I'm hoping to have happen maybe November. So I'm going to start working on those next week. And that's it. Busy as always, trying to make the world a better place. And with that is it for the show. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and for continuing to download the show. Really appreciate it. So good to have you back, Toni.
It's good to be back.
It was great to have the listeners hear you, and hopefully now that they'll
back in the routine.
Yeah, they won't send me any emails about where'd Toni go? Toni's coming back. I was like, Toni's there. Like she gets busy. So I'm glad you're back, and great show today. Get out in your communities and check in on your family and friends. Put a smile on someone's face. Doesn't take a lot of energy to do that at all. Thank you for listening to the Elijah Winfrey Show. Please be sure to download this show wherever you download your favorite podcast. Till next week, take care. Bye-bye.